Thanks, Steve. That was great.
Sure.
How do you feel that your ideals changed as you got older and got like deeper into your kind of like pickup and self-help career?
Good question. It's actually something I always like to bounce off of Anthony because he's like a very idealistic person. And I don't directly ask him this. My ideals almost never change. Like I always have them. Like I've always, even in teaching this. So there were like times in 2006 where I just flat out lied to chicks, man. It was like, you know, I don't have kids, like blah, blah, and I like came into relationships with them and had to end them because I was just so full of shit. And then it's like my ideals changed to be like, all right, let's be really honest. And then, you know, experience allowed for more ability to be honest in especially intimate situations, because that's the toughest thing in the world. We don't really know how to do it. And I feel that it's not that it's just culture that doesn't show us, but we're born not knowing. So experience is supposed to show us, you know? So it's not that my ideals, they do change, and there are beliefs that, that do transfer and transform and all that sort of stuff and evolve, but it's really my behavior and kind of like my reception of those experiences, you know? Like I was getting angry, I was getting like resentful and shit the other day, and the goal is not to be perfect, man, because that would mean you're not alive, which might be a good thing. You know, we'll see, I'll let you know. But the thing is that I was feeling kind of resentful and pissed off, and I'm like, why am I? Like, what am I attached to that's keeping me from being able to be free, you know, from being able to exist? And God, it's tough. It's a tough thing. I do a lot of writing on that and like inventorying, and a lot of it, you know, comes out in this, but some of it also comes out with writing about just why I'm mad. Why I'm mad, what part of it's affecting me, you know, is it affecting like my emotions? What am I afraid of? Because usually if I'm mad about something, it's that overall I'm really afraid to be rejected or afraid of being alone or something like that. And that fear and not being able to look at it, you know, keeps me from looking at my part in it, keeps me from looking at the deeper parts that it's affecting me. Yeah,
yeah. Again, great speech, man. I just want to add to it. I've been doing for the last month, like getting up and doing questions that focus on gratitude and doing a bit of meditation, how it increases your baseline state day to day. So like things that like come your way. Say you get rejected a couple times and you're out off night, and usually go into like a spiral and get like beat yourself up a bit. You can walk away, refresh yourself a bit, and your baseline state picks you up a bit. So that's cool, something I noticed. But another question was, how did your views on, because me and my friends were raised in like a curry traditional culture, conservative culture.
Right.
So it was like, get married, you're going to get arranged, all that shit. And then basically in the last couple of years, we've done a 180. If my parents knew what we were doing, they'd shoot themselves. I don't know. So then, so moving forward, say I was in a 3-year relationship a couple of years ago, got in the pickup stuff at the beginning of this year, in a relationship now for about 4 months. And again, getting a bit bored again.
Right.
And thinking about, if I can maybe break up in the next couple of months or whatever, get back, be single, go into polygamy again. So what did your views on polygamy versus monogamy? How did they change?
Polygamy, like multiple wives?
Multiple girlfriends.
Polyamory.
Multiple girlfriends, yeah.
Polyamory is like fucked
marriage.
up, but polygamy, let me tell you.
Yeah. No,
I've never been married, but
versus like marriage and monogamy, which I was thinking I might have in like my 30s. Yeah.
Dude, you're okay. So there's a couple things. Number one, culture is a big deal. It influences us. However old you are is how much it influenced you, and still influences you, and it's part of you. And you gotta love it and embrace it and all that sort of stuff to see what's there. You know, my culture, whatever that they say, Americans have no culture, and it's kind of true. But you know, I did grow up with certain beliefs and certain ideas and things that I you know, liked and disliked and thought were myself and whatever. And peeling through that is kind of like a confusing and contradicting process, but you need experience to do it, and there's some tools like this to help you. Now, that there's no easy answer to. You just got to figure it out. Your culture is a part of you. Number one thing is you got to accept it and own it, all right? That this is who I am and this is where I'm starting, all right? And not denying it. I hate that. There's this guy, actually, this is a little bit separate culture, but he's Punjabi, and he teaches pickup, and he showed me his fucking driver's license. I should have, this will show you some anger. Should have just fucking kicked his ass, and God, I was just like, what are you saying to these people? He's like, this is me, you know, look at me, before I moved to LA, and he's like, I wore this stupid shit, and I had a beard, and now I'm a filmmaker, an actor, and people, and I'm like, dude, you're not any of those things you say you are, and like, you're just telling these people that you threw away your culture, you know, to fucking live a Hollywood ideal that has no proof of happiness to it. I mean, like, you listen to what you're saying, you know. This is why you need to be fought. No, listen to what I'm saying. Anyway, but the thing is your culture is going to be a part of you, and own it, man. You know, and then once you own it, you can start to separate what's you, and it's a process, man. It's tough, and that's where you're going to find your real self, and that's what my constant work with myself is doing. But the other thing is the reactions of sex and the ideals of sex. There are no rules to sexuality, man. You know, there might be a dude who's like an extremely sexual person, like defines the sexual life. I meet this dude, in fact, there's a guy, Fred, he's the wheelchair Yoda, man. He's an awesome dude. He's like, life is great. And I'm like, you're in a fucking wheelchair. He's like, yeah, ever since my wife got murdered and I learned to let go of things, it was good. But, I mean, I'm like, what, Fred? Really? But no, true story, man. The guy's just so, like, enlightened. But the deal is, and I would actually talk to him about sexuality, and he's like, I don't need a woman. I don't need a woman. Maybe when I was young, dumb, and full of cum, I'd be all over it, and that's awesome. But, dude, you know, I don't need that. I don't need that to complete myself. I'm happy, and I'm a sexual person. You know what that means, Steve? And he'd go on and on about all this stuff. But it's for you to define. The key to this is, and what I say is, like, look at your identity, all right? Look at who you are, and look at the facade. Facades are good. They're not bad. But when that facade creates your identity, you're being full of shit. You're being like that guy who, you know, shaves off his beard and says he's a good person now because he's buying into a facade. You know, he's not looking at what's really him. And there needs to be a compensation of those things. And also you need to look at the experience versus action, systems, and methods. When you go like, all right, I'm looking at the action, the system, and method. All right, polyamory, polygamy, good stuff. And the Mormons do it right, man. They do it good. They do it better. Well, I'm not even going to get into it. All right. But you look at systems, right? And you go like, all right, open relationships, you know, being in a relationship, that's a system. You got to look in the experience. What the problem lies in that 4 months, I'm kind of bored. I'm not going to tell you what's right or wrong with that, but I guarantee you the answer's in the experience that you have with her rather than the system that's facilitating it. And then the system can really shed light on it. And then the other thing, too, is don't look at the results. I'm bored, happy. Is this serving my purpose? You know, my life, fuck. I wish you guys were all, like, worshiping me right now. I wish you guys were all going like, oh, my God, fuck, and I could see it on your faces. Like, but is that serving my purpose? That's a result, man. You know, so I need to go like, all right, I'll have faith in my purpose.
So I'll have like faith trial and error experience and then be introspective.
Yeah. Okay, so
the
road's just going to come through whatever experience you have. What's up? We have one more, Anthony? One more. Okay. One more, and then I got to send a special message. Anthony!
Hello, sir.
What's up?
Thank you for sharing. Loving it so far. My question is, what if, just like James shared before, someone starts out real late? What would be your advice about being social and being sexual? By real late, I mean, you know, early 40s.
Man. Yeah, I almost don't understand that question, man. Because you're always alive, man. Okay, so this is another thing. Life, like, let's look at life as the answer. Like, life is always moving. Life, never can anything be so fucked up. You have to have faith in life, man. You have to have faith that it's going to do shit that you won't imagine. We can look at cellular structure. We can look at the human body. We could look at how plants grow. We can look at how animals mate, and there's consistent behavior. But or not even the evolution, that life that exists within that specific thing, you cannot predict. And that life, no matter how fucked up it gets, can totally change. And your fucked upness, what you're saying is your age. That's not true, man. Man, I've had so many times, and it's weird. I want to talk about this more in the next speech that has to do with like the more violent aspect and angry aspect and those things, because those are all good things. We just don't look at them in those ways and kind of combat stuff helped me through that, and I don't want to make myself as like some sort of badass, but I used to really align myself with somebody who had fucked up shit in my life. But now it's not a part of my identity, man. I don't have the stuff which holds on to that. So the one thing that I'd say to you is life is always going to be there. You need to have faith that can kind of take over. And, you know, older person, let me tell you, you got like many advantages. Number one, you show up, let's get back to some technical like social dynamic stuff. Number one, by showing up and talking to a girl in a social way, it's almost automatically sexual. She has her friends to hang out with. She has her friends to play with. She has her friends to have fun with. You talking to her, you might be randomly and even like, you might even take all the intent out of it, but your intent has an easier leverage because it's almost there when you show up. Also, you have experience, you know, which maybe you don't have experience, and I'm not asking you to fake it with anybody, but your experience is assumed, and you have experience with life. You also have stability. And remember, sexual energy is calm. One of my good friends is Eric Everhard. He's a porn star. In fact, I learned more from porn people about sex and like your different ways of treating it than any fucking tantrum motherfucker or like pickup people. But like Eric and even my friend Anthony is very interesting. Is they would tell me that like, look, sex is more like when we're having sex, we're athletes, we're professionals, and we're fucking. But there's like 10, 15% of like fucking, 75% of actual sex. So sexual energy is mellow. It's always meant to be mellow. The other stuff is social and facilitating and cultivating reactions, whether that's opening and being direct or doing something, that's cultivating reaction, man. I want to get to a deep emotional part. In fact, one of the things that I say for guys living their social and sexual lives, you should get to an emotional root or something that can be seduced, which is emotion and sex itself, within 2 to 5 minutes. Should happen. I mean, it's just general. Any guys who have skill with women know that. I think I got to wrap it up now, but let me just say this. With that, thank you very much. Good time.